Hello everyone, welcome back. Next topic, add an accessible date picker. Forms often include the input field, which can be used to create several different form controls. The type attribute on this element indicates what kind of input will be created. In forms, we use input field so that we can take user value, and the type attribute mentions what kind of value we will be taking. So we can proceed. You may have noticed the text and submit input types in prior challenges, and HTML5 introduced an option to specify a date field. And we have seen the text and submit field in the previous tutorials, and we will see the date field in this means input field of date type. Depending on browser support, a date picker shows up in the input field when it's in focus, which makes filling the in form easier for all users. For older browsers, the type will default to text, so it helps to show users the expected date format in the label or as placeholder text just in case. So here is an example of the value label for input, enter a date, and it's for id input 1. So id input 1, this is the input, and input type date will be here. And in case of older browser, we should mention that a placeholder which is not provided here, but we should add them so that they can know what format of date is accepted. So the tasks, Camper Cat is setting up Mortal Kombat tournament and wants to ask his competitors to see what date works best. Add an input tag with the type attribute of date, an ID attribute of pick date, and name attribute of date. Okay, so Campercat is adding Mortal Kombat tournament and wants to ask his competitor to see what dates were where. Add an input tag. So first task, add an input tag with type equal to date. We can see how the input box has changed. An ID attribute of pick date, which is here. We can see the info. So we will mention the same here so that this label indicates for this input field, and a name attribute of date, and we will mention the name so that will submission, this will get go by this key and closed. Your so test message, your code should add one input tag for the date selector field, one input tag for date selector. Your input tag should have a type attribute with the value of date, type attribute with value of date. Your input tag should have id attribute with the value of pick date, id attribute with value of pick date, and your input tag should have a name attribute with the value of date, name attribute with the value of date. So run the tests, and it's successful. Download my solution, and thanks for watching everyone. See you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.